Breaking news in the past few minutes, Jesse Marsch has been sacked as Leeds manager. Yeah, you join us. This has just happened. The statement has been put out by the club. They say this: Leeds United can confirm the head coach, Jesse Marsch, has been relieved of his duties. Jesse joined the club in February 2022 and was instrumental in keeping the club in the Premier League on the final day of last season. They confirmed that Rene Marek, Cameron Toshak and Pierre Barriot will also leave the club. They go on to say, we would like to thank Jesse and his backroom staff for their efforts and wish them well for the future. The process of appointing a new head coach is underway, they say, and we will continue to keep supporters up to date throughout the coming days. Well, obviously it comes after that 1-0 defeat to Nottingham Forest yesterday. And after the game, Jesse Marsch said that he understood fans' frustrations, but said the players had belief that they could turn things around.
It's my responsibility, and I understand their frustration, and I accept it. And I have to find a way to turn a lot of the good things that are happening into results, or we find ourselves in a stressful situation. I understand the frustration and doubts. Internally, we have belief here. We do. The players are all in. They've given everything they have. It's just we're young, and we're still trying to put it all together.
Well, he was appointed in February last year, succeeding Marcelo Bielsa, of course, at Ellen Road. He became just the third American to manage in the Premier League. Kaveh Solokol joins me now to talk more on this. Yesterday, after the game against Nottingham Forest, you know, it felt like the fans were against him as well. I mean, Leeds fans, they can be quite vociferous, can't they, at times? Did you feel that as well?
Yes, certainly. I think a section of the Leeds United supporters were never really convinced by Jesse Marsch. And I know it's a cliche, but football is a results business, and results haven't been good enough. And Leeds are only out of the relegation zone on goal difference. And the owners looked at the situation and felt that they had to make a change. For instance, we saw this weekend what happened with Everton, the bounce that you can get from a new manager who didn't even have any money to spend in the transfer market in January, got an instant reaction from his players. And if you look at Jesse Marsch's record, I think he only won 11 of his 37 games as the Leeds manager. He's only won 2 of the last 17 games, and they've got 2 very, very important league games coming up against Manchester United, and things have to change. I know some people at Leeds United still supported Jesse Marsch, but there were some people right at the top of the club who felt that they needed to bring a new man in. Otherwise, there was the real danger that they could slide into the Championship. And we all know how disastrous that is for a big Premier League club who've invested a lot of money in their squad to drop out of the Premier League.
And in terms of him, you know, American coach, and he was bringing in, it seemed like this American contingency, certainly with Weston McKennie, you know, one of the players that came in. Jorginho Rutter, they broke their record, didn't they, in terms of transfers, just this window. So it's interesting that the owners have decided to take action now.
I think in the past we would have always said, isn't it a bit of a ridiculous situation where you back a manager by giving him so much money to spend in the transfer market and then just a few days later you sack him? What are you playing at? But I think at most clubs now, certainly in the Premier League, the manager, the head coach, is not necessarily in charge of the recruitment. So the players who are bought in are not necessarily players who the head coach has insisted they're the players I want. But the owners in making this decision have obviously looked back and looked at the investment that they've made, not just in this transfer window, but also in the summer, and felt that they had to make a change. And now what they have to do, of course, is find the new man very, very quickly. We saw it wasn't that easy for Everton. The process that they went through, it was a very controversial process, and they had a little bit of a head start on Leeds United. You're seeing that now with a lot of the clubs at the bottom of the table. The owners are beginning to think, do we need to make a change? Some of them have already made a change. There are question marks about Nathan Jones as well at Southampton. So unfortunately, this is the time of year when owners start getting a little bit twitchy, they start getting a little bit nervous, and they start to make changes. But for all that, you know, Jesse Marsch comes across well sometimes in his press conferences, sometimes he doesn't. For instance, when it came to transfers, he always refused to answer any questions. You've just got to look at the results. You can't remain a Premier League manager if you only win 2 of your last 17 games.
Let's just get confirmation of that. You're talking there because we have got some numbers here. You said, didn't you, in charge of 37 games, winning just 11, drawing 10, losing 16. That's a win ratio of 30%. But in terms of the next person that comes in, they're going to have to hit the ground running, aren't they? Because their next 6 games, hugely big in terms of this. We've got Manchester United, arch rivals,
twice.
At Old Trafford twice, yes, because of course of the passing of the Queen. These fixtures have been moved, and that's why they're meeting twice in the space of a week. And then they've got fellow strugglers Everton and Southampton as well, you mentioned as well, before away trips to Chelsea and then home to Brighton as well. I mean, we always talk about it straight away, is who's in the frame to take over? Could it be, because we're hearing Bielsa potentially, could he make a comeback?
Well, look, Marcelo Bielsa is he's available. He was in London last week, or was it the week before, to have a meeting with the Everton, some of the senior people at Everton about potentially taking the Everton job.
I hope he hasn't gone home, because he could kill 2 birds.
I think he's actually gone back home.
Okay.
He is available. It would be a little bit surprising if Leeds decided to go back to him, even though he was so successful during his time at Leeds. The one name that everybody's talking about a lot, and a person who was also linked with the Everton job, is Carlos Corberán, who's doing such a good job at West Bromwich Albion. Of course, he works as an assistant to Marcelo Bielsa. So I think he would be the favourite for the job at the moment. But of course, as far as West Bromwich Albion are concerned, he has a contract with them, and there's no way that they want to lose him at such an important point of their season as well.
No, absolutely not. All right, thanks, Carvey, for now.